Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Let's Plant Recap. This is the show where I look at the latest episode's comments, and at times I also have a look at recent comments on other videos. And from the last episode, it looks like there's a lot of feedback, some questions, some suggestions, and I'm really glad for all of it. But before we start, I think you're hearing the roar of the fan behind me. Well, it's quite hot in this room. We're in the middle of a heat wave which started yesterday. The temperatures actually hit over 40 degrees today, and I think I don't remember what the car's reading was, but I think it went up to 48, 49 at some point in the day. That should be around almost 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But anyway, moving on, it's 11:30 in the evening and the kids are already asleep, and this is my me time. So to start, let's have a look at the latest episode, which is episode 150 about the Patreon shrine. I was discussing some changes that I wanted to do there. And just to recap the episode, I was thinking about going vertical this time, because placing the pergola on the Patreon shrine meant that part of the space in the ground is occupied, which means that I have to shift everything around. And if you recall, in the past I had lots of large pots on the ground in the Patreon shrine, so they need space. If I move them around, if I try to keep the same design as before, then it would be really cramped. So I was thinking that I have to shift things a bit, and that would create some weird gaps. So as I mentioned in the episode, I wanted to go vertical, and vertical hanging gardens is something that really makes sense because we already have the structure. I just need to affix hooks and we could just place the plants there. So looking at the comments, I see a lot of people commenting about how going vertical is a very good idea and they can't wait to see what happens next. So yeah, I'm glad all of you are excited, as excited if not more than I am. I think I'm more nervous than excited because I haven't really thought about how I would do the gutters. I might have to do a quick Bunnings run this weekend, just to see what sort of gutters there are. I could just purchase one of those PVC gutters, or maybe I could craft my own out of treated wood or paint something. I don't know, we'll see. The problem with just using gutters by themselves is that they would definitely stick out, unless I paint over it. But anyway, the possibilities are endless, especially if you're doing this DIY. So I think my apprehension is unfounded. And let's have a look at some comments. I keep saying that, but I haven't really started looking at them. So the first one is from Robert Brewer, and he expresses how he likes the actual plant stuff and he's avoiding the family fun part, and he's saying that I should probably be more protective of showing my children on camera, which I agree. But sometimes it can't be helped because whenever I film or whenever I'm outdoors, the children are there anyway, and I like to have a bit of fun with them. And I don't know, part of me thinks that this is just like those old school home videos which I just so happen to upload on YouTube. But Robert is right, unlike home videos which we are meant to consume ourselves, uploading on YouTube is an entirely different matter. It is exposed to a wider audience. So yeah, I guess I could reduce their screen time, and especially if once they grow up, they would probably not appreciate being shown on camera unless they really want it. But for those of you who have kids, very curious kids, I'm pretty sure you would understand how hard it is to keep the children away, especially if they want to just play with you and be part of whatever you're doing. So yeah, I'll try to find a balance, and maybe I should not speak whenever the kids are around, because that's one of the reasons why they are in the clips, because I would actually try to record while they are around. It's really hard finding the time to record if they refuse to go away. And if I turn them away, they would just scream in the background. You might have probably heard some of their screams in previous videos. So yeah, part of life. From Rose Ishi, does the pergola help with the rain? And I think it depends on what you mean by help. If you're talking about trying to reduce the amount of rain that the plants are exposed to, then technically no, because the pergola by itself, it just lets rain through. I do add some shade cloth on top of it. I attach shade cloth on the pergola during summer, and I've been mentioning that I am contemplating leaving the shade leaving the shade cloth on, at least just directly on the pergola. The shade cloth that I am using still allows rain and, well, water to fall through, only it holds them a bit before, saturating and just dripping. But long story short, no, it doesn't really reduce the amount of water that the plants are exposed to. And that's exactly what I wanted anyway, because I like my plants being rained on, and that's exactly why I have them outdoors. And in order to compensate, I have my my soil mix rather loose, so they drain pretty well. And that's my strategy overall. If I have them outdoors where they are exposed to a lot of rain, then I just make sure that the ground is prepared appropriately so they do not drown. And that's something you have to think about if you're doing things outdoors. From Maru, and he sent me a message in Filipino saying that he has probably consumed all of the videos and my articles on Facebook. And he really likes the garden and hopes that I would find time to visit nurseries and do videos on them again. So yeah, this is something that I should be doing again, garden tours, nursery tours, but I haven't really had the time, especially now that it is summer and it's really hot and I do not want to be outdoors. I don't even have enough time for my garden. So yeah, let's wait for things to simmer down. Let's wait for the heat waves to be over, and yeah, maybe I could work on something. Let's see. From Carl Mander TV, again in Filipino, saying, "What a garden, and your succulents are beautiful." Thank you so much, Carl. From Scarlett, "I think gutter planters and hanging baskets would look great." I think so too. Imagine the blank space or the empty space above the plants just being filled with hanging plants, hanging baskets. So yeah, I think having a curtain with just plants would be really nice. From Zainizana66, "Hey Chuck, do you get any frost in these parts of the garden during winter? And if you do, what's your method of protecting your plants?" I have a few videos about this before where, the things that I do to protect my plants against frost. But specifically in my situation, we do get frost in my climate, but our climate is relatively mild in that the frost does not stay for too long, or rather in the morning they melt and slide off the plants. And I have adopted a few strategies for that. Some of the plants are tilted, some of the plants are close together so they retain more heat. And yeah, and besides, in my climate the temperature rarely goes below freezing, so I don't really have to worry about it. From Rose Ishi again, she's so adorable. Thank you. From Dory, "Your children are precious. I think it's wonderful that you are so patient and loving with them." Thank you so much. But they can get quite cheeky, and patience is limited, and it's really hot. Bad combination. From K8, "We want to see Zack with her in the garden too." Yeah, Zack is growing up now and his interests are shifting slightly. And compared to Nikki, of the two, Nikki is more fond of the outdoors. Zack likes staying indoors, playing with his toys, or he is somehow obsessed with Super Mario these days. So he has been watching a few videos on YouTube. He, for some reason, found the old animated series. So yeah, nostalgia, memory lane. From April Taylor, "You are such a sweet brother. I love the thinking pose. You could attach a panel or chicken wire or board to the back poles of the pergola. A vertical garden would be gorgeous." Yeah, good idea. Chicken wire, crisscross, or yeah, we do have those crisscross boards here. It would be easy to attach plants to them. But Yeah, I definitely want to go with a vertical garden, which means that at the back there should be some ledges, multiple ledges, rather than just a place to hang plants. I would like to hang the plants on the beams themselves. I already have this vision of multiple hooks on the beams and just having the plants hang on top of them or hang off of the hooks. So, you know, this is probably something that I could work on in the next episode. From Ski Devitt, I love your up and coming plants with hanging succulents. I can't wait to see what you do next. Yeah, I can't wait to see as well. From Iza Zidlauska, your garden is so abundant. I love all the echeverias. I have yet to see elsewhere the quality and quantity that you have going on at the same time. Thank you, Iza. Yeah, I guess I'm lucky with my climate because even though we get heat waves and we also have winter and rainy days, we still manage to get things working. And yeah, I think that's the great part of this trial and error thing. Through the years, you just get better at things and you find ways to, you know, overcome problems. From Deblin, you have such a beautiful collection. They look so healthy. I live in the harsh desert, lots of jackrabbits, ground squirrels, regular tree squirrels. Okay. I cannot have a beautiful garden. I hope to move soon so as to start my collection, but I'm going to do mine in pots. Thank you for sharing your videos with us. Yes, I guess it can't be helped. Have them in pots, yeah, that's a good idea. And hopefully you find a better place for gardening. From 101 Rec, I have always been a fan of those elegant submerging that Orion. You can almost see it decompress as you remove the neighbors. Seems it was a great choice. Let's play the clip. This is the decompression that Drek is talking about. Yeah, that looked cool. From Blueberry, I love that you let your daughter have a moment to be curious. I love your channel and I wish I lived where I could have my plants outside all year. Yeah, it's really hard to shake Nikki off. You know, once I get out, once she sees me open the door leading to the garden, she would hurry and put on her shoes and chase after me. So it's not like I have a choice. So, you know, might as well embrace it. And I asked a question about, you know, my plans to go vertical, and I asked for suggestions. And in that thread, I've got a bunch of comments. First one is from Daniqua, asking where I got my shade cloth. I get my shade cloth from my local garden center, but you might be able to find them cheaper on eBay or the like. I got an entire roll. I think it was 10 meters off of eBay, and they were definitely cheaper than getting it from Bunnings or something. So, yep. And I use 50% shade. At least that roll that I bought was 50%. I sometimes also use 30% for my more mature plants. The 30%, those percents are referring to the UV protection. Depending on your climate, you would typically want 50 to 70%, or maybe even more, depending on, you know, where you are. You would want to filter out a lot of the UV during summer, because that's when you get the most amount of UV and heat, and your plants would need a lot of protection. Just play it by the ear. The reason why I have a 30% is because I want to keep my mature plants still colored up, stressed, and by giving them too much protection, it makes the conditions a lot more conducive to growth, which means that they turn green, lose their colors and stuff. So, you know, if I want to keep them stressed and retaining their colors, I would need to give them more light than usual. From Sweet Succulents, I love the idea of a few long planters along the back post so things can trail down like a waterfall. Yes, this is exactly what I had in mind. So, you know, a bunch of ledges, and I could just have maybe the pearls, string of pearls, or string of beans or banana, trailing succulents just flowing out. Maybe I could even mix it up. I could have string of pearls, burro's tail, burrito, and, you know, whatever. It's not like I have a lot of those plants yet, so I could just do mixed planting or just, you know, plant them randomly, and yeah, we'll see how we end up there. From Eric J, maybe make some of your own planters using thick wire fencing and make columns out of the wire and some sort of soil cloth to hold the soil in. then you wouldn't have to plant just hanging varieties in the hanging planters. A vertical column covered in rosette. Ah, actually, yeah. Yeah, I like this idea. You know what, we'll definitely work on that. I'll have to think about what sort of plants I would like to have there. Definitely maybe the smaller types like the glauca. But yeah, we'll see where we can go with that. I like that idea. From green leaves, yes, a curtain of string of pearls as a backdrop would make a pyramid like a big colorful echeverries pop. Very nice collection, and I like you putting the names, especially echeverries, because sometimes it's hard to tell who's who. Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, a curtain of string of pearls is something that I would like to have as well. That was the comments on that video. Let's look at some of the recent comments from other videos. From Lisa Luna. Hi, why did you go with the white shade cloth instead of any other color? If you're just after UV protection and reducing heat, the color does not really matter. It's more of it's more of the UV protection rating. So in my case, as I mentioned earlier, I usually go with 50%. You might want to go higher depending on your climate. So if it gets too hot or too much sunlight, then higher is better. As for the color, it's mainly, well, it's not as significant in terms of light because plants take a lot of the light from the red and blue spectrum and UV, infrared, not so much green, which is why a lot of shade cloth is either white, black, peach, and green. Yeah, what I'm saying is the color doesn't really matter much apart from reflecting. It's more of how the light is being diffused or reflected. White shade cloth reflects all light, which means that you could get blinded by the light being reflected. It's so bright. Using black cloth might be easy on the eyes, although they might be hot to the touch because black absorbs heat, absorbs light, absorbs visible light. And yeah, I guess it's more of a preference thing. I personally might either go with black or white because it's easy to work around those colors. Green is really hard to design with. White looks clean, black looks elegant, and yeah, it's mostly aesthetics at this point. You know what, I think I'm going to end that there because it's getting quite late. It's already midnight, and for those of you who have really young kids, you would know that they tend to wake up or shift once in a while, and they would start looking for you, and if they find out that you're not in bed with them, they would just scream. So I'll see you in the next episode. In the next episode, I might continue working on or at least start working on my vertical garden. I would mostly be doing up some plants, and I would have to determine how I would work on those ledges. I haven't really decided if I want to do gutters or create my own planter boxes. Either way, they would be costing me quite a bit. So yeah, I guess I should do a cost analysis and see which one is better. So I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.